Welcome everyone to the Canadian Immigration Institute's live Q&A. It's great to have all of you here. I'm just going to, let's see here what we've got. I've got a bunch of different screens that I've got going. Today, I'm on my own, you guys. So this is the Canadian immigration lawyer who is running the Q&A on his own. It's been a while since I have been doing this. And today we're going to have some fun. So it's great. I love the following. I love the people who tune in, who watch these. We've been doing this for probably about 4 years. Those of you who are tuning in for the first time, this is where you get a chance to get your immigration question answered live. Now, we're taking some significant steps to create more value out of these live Q&As. I've got some big plans coming. I've got a whole bunch of fun things. One is we're going to do a roundtable with all of the lawyers in the firm. We're going to try to get that done here get this prepped up and the first few episodes recorded and released here really through the summer. We're going to be releasing it. Alicia's heading away with her family here for July, so she's going to be kind of out of commission, but the goal is to get all of us together and just talking about immigration in a large way. You guys get to know us a little bit better because, you know, when I started this whole process, one of the things that irritated me more than anything else was the fact that there was all of these fancy websites with all the bells and whistles and infomercials and all of these explainer videos, but you had no clue who was actually representing you. You didn't know who the person was behind the curtain, the Wizard of Oz. And I really did not like that. It always bothered me because you could throw a whole bunch of money at this fancy website and the people behind the curtain sucked. They didn't know any more about immigration than you. And so I started the podcast, and you guys can go to the Canadian Immigration Podcast. It's found right on the Canadian Immigration Institute website. If you slide over to our website, let's see if I can choose the right screen here, and we scroll up to the top, you will see that we have the podcast right here, and we try to release all of these videos, although the Q&As will no longer be live videos. But the podcast episodes that are being released, you definitely have to head over and check them out. So we've got them in a couple of different locations. If we search for our firm, let's see if we can pull it up, holthelaw.com. You'll see here in our resources, we have a blog. We've got DIY videos. The Canadian Immigration Podcast is here. And you can see the episodes that we have released are all here in both locations. So you can access it through the website or through the Canadian Immigration Institute. It's all the same. And when you're traveling, you can hear it, right? You don't have to be here watching YouTube and downloading all the data. Oh, that's a little sneak peek right here, you guys. What am I doing with this? The top question is going to get invited to join me live today. That's what we're doing at the end, so stay tuned. You're going to be joining me right beside me, right here in the video. The question about midway through, the person asks the best top question, and we'll know because I'm going to do this. Yep. So if you're daring and you'd like to join me and talk about your story, where you're at in the journey, obviously you wouldn't be here if you weren't in the journey. And the top question you have, if I select it, you have the opportunity to join me. So stay tuned for that. That will be a lot of fun. Okay. So like I said, I just really bothered me that you didn't understand or get to know anyone. So I said this to my lawyers. I said, look, we do these live Q&As every day. And well, it seems like every day, Wednesdays and Thursdays, soon to be expanding. And people really don't know anything about us. Why in the world would you be willing to give your hard-earned money over to someone who you don't know? Now, yes, you can see we answer questions. We try to do this live stream all the time because then the information that's getting shared is as in real time as physically possible. That's why we do this. But at the end of the day, you guys don't really even know who we are. So I made the decision that we're going to do this kind of roundtable, immigration roundtable, where we're going to talk about the week. We're going to talk about the highs. We're going to talk about the lows. We're going to talk about where we think immigration is going to go, and we're going to do a little trivia contest. And the trivia competition is going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be based on immigration. It's going to be based on Canada, history, geography, everything about Canada. And Chanel's going to join us, Alicia, Cedric, Igor's going to get pulled in, And it's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that, because there will be more information to follow. But the whole goal is to help you guys get to know us and realize that we are live human beings just like you. We have got into this industry because we truly want to help. We want to make a difference in the lives of everyone. And why do I do this? Well, I don't offer free consultations in our firm. I don't. If you want to book a consult and speak to one of the lawyers, you are going to pay for it. And I was looking at the analytics just the other day, and we have over, well, almost 3,000 people that come to our Holthe Immigration Law website every single week. And so the reality is, when I direct people back to Holthe Law, and I'll just flip my screen over and show you again. When I direct people back here, first and foremost is right here, speak to a lawyer. And that's this page. These two pages are the ones that are the most accessed. Why? Because if you go to our site, and this is something we're working on as well, you go to our main site here, you'll see that there is really not a lot of information, education related, about how to apply for immigration or study permits or work permits. And will we do that on our site? Yes, we will. But to a large extent, our resources are in our blogs, these ones right here. They're in our YouTube channel, which is this right here. And I'll stop that one and I'll go back. It's in our YouTube channel right here. You can see we've got 40,000 subscribers to the YouTube channel. You can go here, you can access all of the videos, including this series that I'm releasing right now on Express Entry to help all of you guys get prepared. How to combine, can you combine work experience for 2 different NOCs? How to choose the language test for Express Entry, drafting Express Entry reference letters that work. There's a whole bunch of things. Oh, even my mother and the monster pike. Okay, that was an outlier. But anyways, all of these videos, the top 5 Express Entry mistakes, super visas, these videos are all pre-recorded videos that you absolutely have to go and check out if you have any interest in going through the Express Entry process. So go check those out. But all of this is free, and we spend hundreds and hundreds of hours. If you look at the videos in general, I don't know if they list how many there is. I don't know. But I've done videos for, oh my goodness, I don't even know how long. Like if we keep scrolling back, I think this is only 1 year. There's probably, I don't know, 300 videos or something here on content related to immigration. So all of this is available for you for free. So when it comes to engaging us to help you, all of this is designed to get as large of a reach as possible, to help as many people as possible. And that's why we do the live Q&As. But we also are very mindful of the fact that when you go to our website, and if I flip back here to Holthe Law once again, when you go to our website and you click on Speak to a Lawyer, we are very mindful that our rates for one-to-one assistance are not cheap. Alicia's $315 for 25 minutes. Chanel's $189. Cedric is $231, and I'm also $315. And so for a 25-minute consultation, it is more expensive. And because of that, that is why we created the Canadian Immigration Institute, and that is why we created an alternative offering for people who are just struggling to get the funds to meet the settlement requirements, the settlement funds. That's why we've created all the courses. And that's why I do the master class, which is starting next week. So as I indicated, these DIY courses are an alternative to get as much help out to as many people as possible. Now, within our offerings, we also, the thing that we love doing the most, probably more than anything else, you have an alternative. When you go to our site, you can book a consult, or you can actually retain us to do what we call our collaborative review, where we forensically examine your entire application before it goes out. And the services we offer are not just for Express Entry, but they are for all types of immigration: study permits, work permits, visitor records, temporary resident permits, you name it. Problems with, if you need rehabilitation, we do all kinds of things. So all of those are available for everyone in a variety of different capacities. So this live Q&A is designed to help you guys and to get your questions answered that you have related to Canadian immigration. All right. We know things are coming down the pipe. We know that there's going to be some changes in July. We know that right here, the Express Entry rounds of invitations, the last draw was June 8th, 2022. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we can likely expect another draw today. We can see at 17:13 UTC, that's the tiebreaker for the last one. And then the date and time of the round was at 4:03 UTC, 14:03 UTC. So provincial nominee program, we can likely expect another one today. We'll see how that works out. But our minister, and here's the speaking notes right here, he indicated that there would be opportunities for international grads. So we know the motion went through the House and the minister has until September to figure out something for your international grads. And express entry, there's also going to be upcoming changes related to express entry, which we've also talked about, which give people who have lower CRS scores actually hope. So if you have a lower CRS score, you don't have the same level of connection to Canada. When the minister institutes very program specific and targeted draws, maybe your knock code's in the right range. Maybe there's something else related to your human capital that's going to allow you to get a leg up on someone else, notwithstanding the fact your CRS score might be a little bit lower. So those are all things to watch for. But above and beyond everything else, we know that July is when the Minister Sean Fraser, indicated that he would be resuming the draws, and in particular FSW draws. So we've got a couple weeks here, and because of that, that is why we created the next masterclass here for the Express Entry course, which is available right now. And the masterclass goes from June 27th to the 30th, 1 hour every evening, where you can bring your specific questions to me, and I'll answer them. The Express Entry course itself is available right now. You can click on here and you can learn a whole bunch more about it. And I also want to point out right here that if you click on this link here, I have an exclusive for just those who register Express Entry tips that are free. These top 7 Express Entry trips are all designed to prepare you for the July draws. So click on this link and you'll be able to get added into the queue to receive the series of emails to help you prepare so that you're ready when those rounds of invitations start to come out in July. So I wanted to share those little tidbits with you guys. So remember, this is the last week that you have available to register for the course, and you can click in the link in the description and access it. Okay, let's see who we've got here. Who do we have in the house today? Let's see. We'll just zip our ticker away. We've got Amy who's here. He says, I received my GCMS update today. I will ask the question once you give a green light. That is a good question. A very good question. We'll see, Amy. Maybe you will be the winner, buddy. Maybe you'll be the one with the top question, because like I said, the person with the top question is going to slide over here and get the chance to join me right here as my guest, because this is, I don't have a guest here. I don't have one of my lawyers. So you guys are going to have a chance to join me. All right, let's see what else we've got here. Good morning, Rohit. Good morning from India. Nice hairstyle. Well, that's what happens when you don't have a lot of time and you just basically throw it together. You guys are hilarious. Good morning, loving your hairstyle. You guys are hilarious. Amit says, from Virginia, good to see you as always, and you too. And we've got some love over on Facebook that is connected over in the Express, in the Canadian Immigration Institute Facebook page. Hello to you. Anna Pow Tips Design. Hi, Mark. Blessings for you. Thank you. Sandrine over on Facebook. Thanks for connecting in. Great to have you as well. And those of you who are posting your questions, hang tight. I'll give you the green light. All right. Let's see what else we have here as we're zipping through here. Any more shout outs? Peter Tim, good to see you. And we've got Jama over in South Africa, the African Connection. Thank you for connecting in. And let's see here. I think we're just about through the shout outs. All right. I think we're just about ready. YK's here. Good morning, hero. Thanks. You're the hero. All right. Okay. So we've got a bunch of people who are anxious, and those that are tuning in today, you are actually going to get your questions answered. I'm going to go rapid fire. I'm going to get through as many as we can. And let's see where we go from here. Okay. So Shanthony says, nice hair. You guys are hilarious. I applied for PR via Quebec Self-Employed in August of 2021 and yet to receive an AOR or been able to log into the portal since October 2021 are others having portal login issues. There are definitely issues across the board, whether it's the provincial programs, whether it's the federal programs. Challenges logging in have been in existence for a long, long time. When it comes to the processing of applications, I'll give you an example. So like I said, we do all kinds of things, not just express entry. So I have an individual who we filed a humanitarian and compassion application for, and we've been working at this for probably 2.5 years, probably almost 3 years with him. And he has some Canadian-born children. He had a falling out with his spouse. He fell out of status. And so he's the primary caregiver of the children. And we filed back in, I think it was 2021, last year, it's all a blur, 2020, my goodness. In the summer of 2020, we filed his TRP application and work permit to allow him to stay temporarily and work while the H&C application is being processed. So it's first stage approval. So it's just a matter of them finishing the background checks and things like that. And the TRP and work permit was referred to the local office, which is always what happens generally with these types of applications. And, I hadn't heard for a long time, and the client reached out and said, where are things at? And now he needs to travel. He has a grandmother that's ill. And so we're struggling now to figure out, okay, well, what options does he have? If they issue the work permit, maybe, and the TRP, maybe it will allow for exit and reentry. And it has been, like I said, for a temporary application, it has been, wow, like 1.5 years. And then today I saw one of my colleagues on the CBA listserv, the Canadian Bar Association listserv, ask that same question: how long are TRPs taking? And a colleague of mine said, we just have acknowledgement of receipt, and they filed their application 2 months before we did. So across the board, it's been horrible, Shanthony. Absolutely horrible. And so your application is, if you were in there and you had filed it properly, I don't think there's going to be any issues. Sometimes it takes a long time for AOR to be issued, but others can comment below as well. But the reality is, portal issues, login issues, I think those things absolutely exist across the board. All right, good question, Shanthony. Okay, let's jump back here. And remember, if you have a question, put a Q in front of it, and then we will tackle it. All right, let's go to, okay, this is good. Dimple says no issues in login. Okay, well, that's good feedback. So other people posted in as well. We've had so many issues that the default for me now is that there probably is. Okay, Samarina says, hey, Mark, how long does IRCC take to give permanent resident applications an answer after medical done? Oh, that one is, well, you guys know when you go over to the IRCC website, you can actually pull up the processing times and you can see generally where things are at. So if, let's say we take economic immigration, let's just take, let's do the Canadian experience class. We'll do from within Canada. You can see right now it's posted at 11 months. Within that 11 months, once you actually have, once you have your medicals completed and the medical requests come, it depends on the type of program. It depends whether it's inside Canada, outside Canada, visa offices. There are so many factors at play here. So it's not as if there is just one answer to that question. So I don't know what type of PR application was submitted. Sometimes it takes so long that immigration asks them to update their medicals. In those cases, we're kind of looking at about 1 to 2 months, but it really, really depends on the type of application, Samarina. Okay. All right. Shanthony says, it did work at one point. I sent multiple web forms and my lawyer even messaged IRCC for the past 7 months. I did not change the password, plus password reset does not work. Shanthony, that is a question that, like, I'm assuming if you hired a lawyer, that lawyer, if it is a lawyer, should be wrestling with this. They're the ones that should be dealing with it so that you don't have to stress over it, Shanthony. That's why you paid them. And whether it's a lawyer or an immigration consultant, sometimes there's some confusion with that. They should be the ones that are driving the ship for you. And it's really sad to hear that you're having all these issues, especially when you've got a representative that should be fighting for you. So I hope that they're taking care of that. I hope they're wrestling for you, because I can tell you, if you were one of our clients, yeah, this wouldn't be happening. We would exhaust all avenues to make sure that things got resolved. Now, I'm in a little bit of a different position because I'm pretty heavily involved still with the executive of the Canadian Bar Association, and I do have contacts within IRCC. And although I don't abuse that asking questions for my clients, I do have a direct line when there are general problems where I can say, is there a problem with the portal? And then we actually even have a liaison person, Tamara, who is our connection with the portals, because they go down all the time. There's so many problems with it. But if there's a login issue and it needs to be reset, that's something that has to be worked through with the department, the provincial department. Okay. Rohit says, and this is a good question. Oh, this is almost a winner, because this really goes nicely with Express Entry, and it goes very nicely with the course that is launching June 27th to the 30th. Although you can buy and access everything now, it's just the masterclass. This question goes very, very well with it. And I get this a lot. So for proof of funds, can I show mutual funds supported by institution letterhead? Mutual funds are not something typically that immigration likes. They want to know that those funds are liquid. In other words, the amount that's in there is actually available in liquid. So there's 401ks, there is RSPs in Canada, but the value of those fluctuates up and down, and there are often penalties when you cash those out. Now, if it's a fixed deposit account and the institution can provide you with confirmation that these funds are solid, they're liquid, you can take them out at any time without penalty, then that is more likely to be accepted by IRCC. But the reality is, Rohit, I really need to look at the institution, look exactly at the mutual fund, see what the terms and conditions are before I would be able to give you advice on whether or not they would be accepted for the purposes of Express Entry and settlement funds. Okay. All right, here's a tough one. Tanuj says, should I apply for my wife's TRV again after one refusal? She doesn't have a travel history. We got married this year in February. My postgrad work permit is expiring in August, applying for extension, and her spousal open work permit. This is something that we do all the time for our clients, Tanuj. There are a number of ways to approach this. And this is actually a really good segue to slide over here to our site, go to resources, go to blog, and look at what we have right here. My visa application was refused. How can I prepare a request for reconsideration? Which also embedded in here. And this one right here is, if you read more, you'll see this one is drafted by our newest lawyer, who's just recently joined the firm, Cedric Marin. He's joined me in the last Q&As. And those of you will remember that Cedric actually worked for the department as a lawyer within the department and within the refugee determination process. And Cedric, drafted this blog post to give direction and advice. And you can see right here, the goal of this blog is to provide information for individuals to successfully prepare their own reconsideration request. It's part of an upcoming series on immigration applications that have been refused and what to do next. And the reality is, a refusal may seriously impact your ability to immigrate to Canada or another country. And so this right here, as you can see, this blog post is designed in large part to address your specific issue, Tanuj. And so I recommend that you slide over to the website, holthelaw.com, and check out that blog post. But do you apply? Well, you may very well consider. If you're already applying for a spousal open work permit, then rarely do I apply for a TRV at the same time. Obviously, if the spousal open work permit is approved, they can travel. But let's face it, IRCC can be real jerks in this situation. Although dual intent exists within the regulations, the ability to have an intention to come permanently to Canada and at the same time abide by temporary conditions, although that exists, if you're in Canada, sometimes they will use that. Even if you're temporary, they will use the fact that you're there. And if she comes and reunites with you as a factor to suggest that maybe she won't return back to the home country. And there's a number of ways to explore this, a number of ways to examine it. And ultimately, we need a whole lot more detail to be able to give you the best legal advice to decide how best to proceed. So I recommend you slide over and book a consult, book one with Cedric, myself, whoever. We're all there to help. And because once you've got one TRV refusal, the second one is even easier. And the third one, even easier to get refused. I meant refused, not easier to get approved. It's just a difficult world. Do you request the GCMS notes? Is there something in there? You know, to what extent did Chinook result in the refusal? And so there's a lot of factors. What ties does your spouse have to your home country? You know, the fact she doesn't have travel history can be something that worked against her, but there may be other factors that you hadn't considered. And that's what we examine in our consultation process. And that's why within each of these blogs, we always have a section right here, speak to a lawyer, and you can click on that and connect with us. All right, let's jump to some more questions here. That was a pretty good question. I'll be honest, that was pretty good. And does it warrant the invitation to join me right here as my guest? I've got a big open space there waiting for someone who's got a rock star question. So we shall see. Let's see here. Okay. Mohammed says, study permits from Bangladesh are taking nearly half a year to get a decision. Why is this happening? Volume, volume, volume. There are so many people that want to apply for study permits. There's only so much room. And the government has realized they issued way, way too many study permits. So now they're going slower. Simple as that. There's no other answer than that. Okay. Matthew says, in the Express Entry profile, after entering the primary NOC, IRCC asks the date when we became eligible to work under the NOC. This is absolutely something that I cover in the course. Is that date the day we completed and passed the college exam? Please advise. Well, it's exactly what it says in there. It depends upon what the NOC says is the actual requirements for education. So if you go to the NOC position profile, and let's take a look at it. Let's do it. I can do whatever I want today. So I'm going to slide over here. I'm going to see if it opens up. So 2016, we'll pull up because the tier system is not here yet, you guys. Not yet. We're expecting probably November is the word on the street. So if we go here, let's just pick any old NOC. Let's take 1122. Let's go a professional management consultant. Let's see what we have here. So let's say you're a management consultant, a business management consultant. And it says that that question specifically references this part in the NOC, which normally has nothing to do with your qualifications for work history or any of those things, because we talk about that in depth when we are in the course and in the master class. We dive in a lot deeper than we can do here in this live stream. But you'll see here, it says a bachelor's degree is usually required. Okay. Grad degree may be required. Certification as a quality auditor may be required. Occupations in health may require certification. All of this may means that it's basically optional. But if this usually right here wasn't there, and if it just said a bachelor's degree or a related discipline is required, then that would be the minimum requirements. And so if the question, like you've alluded to, says, when have you completed the minimum requirements? Well, then I go with that date. But it also says if there isn't any minimum requirements, which technically, if we look at this again, anytime it says usually or may, means that it is discretionary. It's not mandatory. It's optional. And so in those situations, it says then the date that you completed your high school. So this question really is targeted more towards the federal skilled trade program than it is anything else. But because they're trying to capture all three programs, sometimes there's questions they have to ask that really don't impact on someone who's going through, say, the FSW program or the CEC. So take that with a grain of salt. So the day we completed and passed the college exams, please advise. Sure, that might be it. You can go with that. You could go with the date you received your actual diploma. It's one of those IDRM. What does IDRM stand for? It doesn't really matter. Simple as that. At least unless you're going through the federal skilled trade program, which then it does make a difference when they're calculating eligibility. All right. That was a pretty good question, Matthew. We're about at the halfway point here. So let's see. Chris. Hey, Chris, how you doing? It's great to see you. All right. So Chris says, hey, Mark, does freelance contractor work in an online platform in Canada constitute as employment? should I add them in my IMM 5710 form? So when you're applying for your work permit, any work that you do, you need to disclose in your personal history, whether it's for express entry, whether it's for the TR to PR pathway, whether it's for applying for a work permit extension, whatever it may be. And if you guys want to see, I'll show you one other thing. And this is, some of you who are new to immigration, you can see that Chris said IMM 5710. So what we do here is, I'm going to flip my screen over, IRCC, and then we'll go with forms. I'll just type Forms Canada. See if this pulls up here. And here is where you can go and pull up the 5710. So a form or checklist, and then you go here, 5710, and then it pulls up, you know, the form for extending my stay or remaining in Canada as a worker. So in this form, and going back to Chris here, when you're completing it and it's asking what your work history is, you're always going to put that in there. Always. Any work that you did, whether it was self-employed, contractor, inside Canada, outside Canada, it's asking what you've done. For the purposes of express entry, any self-employed work experience in Canada is not considered work experience or Canadian work experience that's eligible to be included for the comprehensive ranking system scores. And so, but for the 5710, and I'm glad that you qualified it, you are not going to, you're not going to omit this. You're actually going to include it. Okay. Great stuff. Great stuff. Pretty good questions, you guys. Pretty good questions. All right. Let's see what we've got next here. Caitlin, greetings from Romania. She says, greetings to you. Okay. Let's see here. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. Raj says, and congratulations to you, Raj. He says, my city of destination in the Coper the city of destination in his Coper is Edmonton, but he's planning to land and settle in Calgary next month. Will it create any problem during immigration at Calgary Airport? None whatsoever. The only time it's an issue is if you were nominated by a province. So then you better be going to that province. Or if you are thinking about going to Quebec and you've gone through one of the federal programs like Express Entry, that's a no-no. But other than that, no, they don't care. If you said you were going to live in Toronto and you ultimately decided to come to the better place, which is Alberta, and even better, Lethbridge, where I live. So, all right, let's keep zipping through here. Okay, let's see what's next. We've got a bunch of questions. And understand, if I don't get to your question, understand Alicia and I will be back tomorrow at 11 a.m. with another Q&A. So let's keep zipping through here. Okay, so here's the question. So Akame says, hey, Mark, if I apply for CEC in Canada and then go back to the home country, would the process take longer than if I stayed in Canada? All right, well, how do we figure that out? The problem with processing times is that when you look at them, they are backward looking. So you can see here, Canadian Experience, they have, you can see 11 months is how long they expect or anticipate applications are taking right now. Okay. And so this processing time includes the time you need to give your biometrics. That's great. But this online via Express Entry, 11 months. And then if you click this little radio button here and we open it up in a new tab, you'll see here, it basically says that if you've already applied, learn how to check your application status. And they've updated the processing times to be more accurate, learn more about what they changed. Okay, I'm going to flip back. I actually thought this used to go to a different link here. Basically what this means is applications that are being processed right now were submitted 11 months ago. Effectively, that's what it means. So when you go through here, you can see it was last updated yesterday, June 21st. And so you can see it tells you how long it took us to process most applications in the past. All right. So you're basically trying to estimate here, what is it going to look like? And so the starting point is obviously you're going to go to the processing times and you're going to see what those processing times look like for the CEC. And then because it's been so long since, inside and outside, the distinction between the two have really been separated by IRCC. We know for a fact that if you're in Canada, it's going to go faster than if you're outside of Canada. And we know that because of the e-COPR. So outside of Canada, you have to submit your passport. You need to get a permanent resident visa imprinted in your passport. There has to be this handling of your passport by the visa office. And if you have a large volume of applications going through the visa office, just like you, then of absolute guarantee, it's going to take longer. The interesting thing about the Canadian Experience class, ACAME, is that you do not need to still be in Canada while your application is being processed. You don't. You can't actually leave. As long as you met the eligibility, then it's fine. But because of the electronic COPR and the way they do it electronically, it actually is faster to go and land from within Canada, provided you don't have dependents outside of Canada, because then they also can slow your process down. All right. Pretty good question. Pretty good question. Okay. Let's see what is next. Okay, let's try Matthew here. So Matthew's primary knock is a 1111, which is accountants and auditors. He says, under which I have 5 years, 10 months of work experience. I also have 2 months of experience under knock 1311, which is also still skilled, all continuous and foreign experience. Will I get 15 points for 6 years of experience in this scenario? This question, Matthew, if you're brave, I'll answer it in a second. But if you are brave, I will actually pull you on and answer your question live. If you're brave. So are you brave? Is your video working? And you can post in the comments. But Matthew is the winner of the question of the day. And Matthew, all you need to do is, and I'll pull this off, and then I will put this right in here. And I'll add it in. All you have to do right here is type in this URL, and I know who you are. You can join me and I will answer your question live, because that question right there, my friend, this one right here is actually a phenomenal question. And why have I chosen it? One, it's a very, very focused express entry one. And yes, it is very specific to you, some aspects of it, but underneath it, there is a very, very clear distinction that many people don't understand. And by you asking this question, it gives me the opportunity to teach everyone. So Matthew, I'm not sure if you're still watching, but Matthew S., you are the winner right here of the guest appearance on the show, if you're brave. And all you have to do is follow this link and connect in. I'll get notified and then I'll add you in. But if you can post in the comments below, Matthew says he's too shy. So sorry. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, but I'm still going to answer your question. So we will leave it to another person. So Matthew, unfortunately, is too shy, and that's okay. It's not for everybody. But we will continue forward. So we will pass Matthew up and we will move through. But let's get to his question. I'll still answer it now. All right. So what is operating here is two things. One is to get into the pool, you have to meet one of the eligibility requirements for one of the federal economic programs. And so how do we figure out what they are? You basically can do a search, FSW eligibility, and you can see I've kind of got it right here. And if you type in FSW eligibility, it will take you to the requirements to be able to get into the express entry pool as someone who does not have a 1 year of Canadian work experience, but does have at least 1 year of foreign work experience. And if you look at the requirements here, you'll see that they also have a series of selection factors and a point threshold. And we will get to this. But here's the cool thing too about Matthew's question. And as I continue forward and answer it, if we jump back here to the YouTube channel, you'll see right here that we just released about an hour ago. Look at this. Do you see that 67 out of 100? Can I combine work experience for 2 different knocks? That's what I'm asking. And in many respects, that is the same question that Matthew is asking. So to get into the pool, there's a certain threshold that you need. And if we go back to the eligibility for the Federal Skilled Worker Program, and yes, the selection grid, you need to demonstrate that you have worked in at least a skilled position, and it has to be in the same type of job within the last 10 years, at least 1 year of continuous work, okay? And so the kicker here, the distinction for this first part with the Federal Skilled Worker Program is that it needs to be in the same type of job, okay? So that means the same knock. So to start with, the first question is, we're not quite there yet. Matthew says, can I basically combine my 1311 and my 1111 to get the full 15 points? Where does the 15 points come from, you guys? If we go back here and we look at the selection grid, the selection factor point grid, you will see that you have to meet 67 points. And remember, this isn't the same as the comprehensive ranking system. This is eligibility to get into the pool. And some people, they try to get into the pool and they say, I'm entering all my information. Why isn't it letting me in? Because you're probably not hitting this 67 points. Well, for the purposes of the FSW program, when we go to work experience points, you can see here that to get the full 15 points, you need to have 6 or more years. And to answer your question, Matthew, you actually wouldn't get the 15 points because the full 6 years needs to be continuous, full-time, paid, skilled in the same knock. Now, here's one little twist, a question that you didn't ask. Well, how many points do I really need? If you need, Matthew, the full 15 points in order to meet the 67 point threshold, which is set out right here, if you need all 15, then maybe you're not going to be eligible. But if you can meet that total with maybe 1 year or 2 years or 3 years of skilled foreign work experience, then for the purposes of the comprehensive ranking system, if you're already meeting 67 points, then once you hit 3 years of foreign work experience, you are not getting any more CRS points through the skill transferability factors. You're just not. So if you don't need the 15 points to get the 67 points to qualify for FSW, then it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. All right. So that was a fantastic question. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to find someone else who is brave here. Okay. Okay. Ms. said, Mark, with my spouse, we opened a new joint bank account only for proof of funds. We didn't use this money for 10 months. Is that a problem? Please advise. Short answer, no, it's not. It's not a problem. Can the bank and will the bank be willing to give you one of those bank letters that works, that shows your average balance over the past 6 months? Great. That's really the only question you have to ask in those circumstances. And if the funds are both yours, then great. If they're not yours and you've got a loan from someone, then I always provide a gift deed, because loans, I shouldn't say that. I'm backtracking. No, no loans, no go. If someone, and remember, friends, they loan money. Family gives money. If your parents gifted you, then I always get a gift deed or the equivalent. Okay. Okay, here's a pretty good one. EJ says, hey, Mark, my working experiences were mostly obtained overseas outside my home country. Would that be considered travel history, even though not for pleasure? No, I consider that work. So in the personal history section, I would consider it work. And if you are traveling, ultimately the challenge with this, if your work experience is mostly obtained overseas outside your home country and you were living there, then those addresses are going to be a part of your address history. And so anything that's an address in a country, I never make that also a travel history. Once again, where do I go? Where do I have the opportunity to go in depth and talk about this? In the course. Oh, this one right here in this course. Okay. That's, and I physically walk you through how I complete the travel history section, because so many people do it wrong. So many people do it wrong. All right. Keep zipping through here. Okay. Jode says, hey, Mark, new look. This style makes you younger again. You guys don't know how old I'm turning this year, do you? Well, I think you probably do. Okay, regarding things to carry, if I have to carry some liquid like shampoos or gels more than 1 liter, how should I bring it? Because I am a beauty. Okay, I'm not sure if that's the end of the character. Or maybe you're just very, very comfortable in your own skin and you feel really good about yourself. Okay, so Jode is a beauty. Let's see. Oh, because I am a I think we're going to go with beautician, maybe. I think that's probably it for Jode. That's quite funny. Anyways, long story short is you need to put it in your checked bag. So the reality, anything that's larger than that, you need to put it in a checked bag, or the reality is you may not be able to bring it. You might need to ship it separately. So that's it. That's more of a goods question, and I'm more of an immigration. I'm more of a person question versus a goods importation question. So, all right. Okay. SJ says, "Hey Mark, postgrad work permit extension was supposed to kick in around mid-June." Yeah, it was. We're June 22nd, still waiting. And I can tell you guys that right over here, I have an express entry course. Yes, I do. But what do I have queued up? I have the 18-month postgrad extension queued up as a course. When you click export courses, you will see, as soon as the moment it's announced, you will see that it's here. And I'm absolutely going to be launching that the moment we get word. So what is going on with this? I don't know what the heck the minister is waiting for. I know you've been waiting for CEC draw since 10 months. Mental health is going bad. I understand that, SJ. And my heart goes out to all of you. We've been pushing and pushing and pushing the minister. And I don't know, ask the liberals. Ask the liberal government what the heck they're doing. I don't know what their motivation is. The Canadians elected them. So what is the deal? What is it? I don't have an answer for you, SJ, because there's no reason in my mind. They've just done it. They know the parameters. It's not rocket science. They may have a separate portal that they're going to, have people file through. Remember, they did say that they were going to try to simplify it and make it easy, which is code for beware. It's never as easy or simple as you think it is. Remember, the TR to PR pathway was also designed to be simple and not complex. Heck, they only gave people like a day. And the over 450 people that went through my course for TR to PR pathway, well, I advised them and alerted them all through step by step the landmines that were existing all around, just waiting to blow up their applications. And the moment they start to simplify things, that's the moment that there is just a lack of clarity, a lack of precision. There's this gray area that is awful for you guys because you never know exactly what they mean by something. And if you make the wrong assumption, it can unravel everything, resulting in your post-grad work permit extension being down the tube. And with you, as many people waiting so long for CEC draws, to lose out on that opportunity is devastating. And I had so many consults with the previous incarnation of the 18-month extension where people missed out, did something wrong, got the application returned, and then were not able to resubmit it for a variety of reasons or fell out of status. It was so ugly. And I vowed that this time, because, hey, it's so easy, why do you need my help? You can figure it out. You guys file your own postgrads. You do all these different things, and you don't need to hire a lawyer necessarily to do that. At least that's the perception. Well, the consults that I had were just so painful, and I vowed I would never do it again. So that's why stay tuned. The moment that announcement happens, I will be going live immediately. I will be releasing my top 5 things that are going to trip people up, and I will be opening up here on the Canadian Immigration Institute that particular course at a very affordable rate so that I can help as many of you in this position. Let's face it, SJ, many of you have lost your jobs. You're not working. You're hanging on by a thread. Whatever you do, don't fall out of status. Okay. Once again, Zipsy says essential worker for new program or international student. We'll have to see what happens. We will have to see. I suspect probably not essential worker. However, remember, there's 2 changes coming. One is with respect to express entry generally. And I honestly believe that some people that were, we know that were essential in the TR to PR pathway process, some of them are actually going to be elevated with the new tier system to become, and stay tuned, there's going to be another blog over here on our firm website, there's going to be another blog released that talks about the winners in terms of occupations. So some occupations that in the previous world for express entry were considered low wage or low skill and not eligible for express entry are going to be eligible when the changes occur. But there's also going to be the ability of the minister through his ministerial instructions to designate certain specific categories and to elevate them and give them the opportunity to go through express entry that are not just based on comprehensive ranking system score. So some essential workers might go through that. And then remember the motion going through the House, which basically that motion mandated that the minister figure something out for international graduates and international students by September. And we had discussions with the minister about that earlier this year in a private meeting that we had with the executive of the Canadian Bar Association. So there we go. Okay, let's see what's next here. Well, looks like we're not going to have a winner today. It looks like we are not going to have a winner today. Okay, Hassan, I'll pull yours up and I'll just say, I'm going to ring this one right here, which is the book a consult. So many people are in your situation. 462 points is probably not going to cut it in the normal world of FSW, because the comprehensive ranking system scores with the French and with siblings in Canada and all those things, it has never come down to 462 in the modern era in the last 2-3 years. So the lowest it's come down to is 468 when they did a series of 5,000, 5,000, 5,000 at the end of 2020. So very unlikely. So do you consider self-employed pathway? Well, we know that self-employed is off the charts. Processing times for self-employed is horrible. And if we go back here and we always look at this, right? So if we go back here and then we choose economic immigration, and then we choose here self-employed, and we click processing times, you can see it's off the charts. Like we're talking over 3 years processing. 41 months is an awful long time to be sitting waiting. But if that is your only option, there's nothing stopping you from submitting a self-employed person and then seeing what happens with express entry. Maybe, just maybe, although financial news reporter, probably not as, in demand, I guess, in when it comes purely to labor shortages in Canada, but anything's possible. It's possible with these new targeted draws that the minister could pull you, or maybe your spouse. I don't know what her background is, but I recommend you book a consult, slide over to our website. I've showed you guys this lots and lots. It's really easy because our whole website is designed to make it easy for you guys to come here, speak to a lawyer. All right. Okay. Let's keep zipping down here. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, Amy, I'll pull up your question now. So Amy says, FSW Outland Express Entry AWAR September 19, 2020, GCMS applied 40 days ago, eligibility passed, criminality, RCMP screening in process, Indian UK police clearance clear. What is happening will happen next, Amy. Hopefully your passport request. That's hopefully what we're at right now. If you've updated all those things, usually 1 to 2 months, you're kind of in the range. So hang in there, and you better be celebrating with us, Amy, when you get that passport request. Okay, Manvi, we covered that about post-grad work permit extensions. Not a word, haven't heard anything. Don't know what the heck Minister Fraser's doing. I don't know why the Liberals are holding off, but this is entirely on them. It's on Cabinet, what they're doing. So that's where I place the blame for all of you international students that are in the situation you're in right now. Realistically, it's the Liberals and the decisions that they've made. So there we go. Yep, new program for international students. We covered that. Zipsy, we'll see what happens. The minister has until September. Okay, YK says, I received an ADR for new PCC in IMMA T4, applied in February with PCC, came to India, emergency. It's been 6 months. Can I expect a passport request soon after submitting PCC again? We usually are looking at 1 to 2 months, YK. 1 to 2 months is kind of the range. All right, let's see here. This one is tough. This one's tough. Caitlin. Okay. We're just about out of time, Caitlin, but I'll give you a shot. If you are adventurous, are you adventurous, Caitlin? If you're adventurous and you want to join me, right here, live, wait, this one right here, then I will answer your question. I'll answer your question in the live today. I will go a little bit longer. So if you are interested in joining me, post in the comments below, Caitlin, and this is the link that you have to follow. I'll leave it up till you maybe are scared too. It's kind of, crazy, but hey, this is a live show and it's interactive, and I want people to have opportunities to showcase kind of where they're at. And this is a really, really tough one, Caitlin. So are you adventurous, Caitlin? Are you interested in tackling this? So that's the question. So I'm going to set Caitlin's question aside. And if Caitlin is adventurous enough to join me, then we'll pull her in and I'll answer this question live. I'm just going to make a note so I don't forget who the question is. And I don't know if Caitlin is even still watching. We'll see. Okay. So we'll leave we'll leave this up here, Caitlin. I'll leave the URL, and all you have to do is paste that URL in your browser window and my system will pull you in. Okay, let's get to a couple more questions. Hale says, I have experience of 2 years as an accountant, okay, in tax consultancy firm. Okay, a band of 7778. Now I don't know, I'm assuming 8 is listening maybe, because 8 needs to be listening and the 7 and all the rest. Age 28, please suggest me best option to immigrate to Canada with a 6-month period of time. I'm going to ring the bell, Hale. And if you're outside of Canada right now, I think there is an extremely low likelihood that you're going to be able to immigrate in 6 months regardless. But we need to explore all of the options. And despite what you've put in here, Hale, it's simply not enough information to allow me to advance. So you have experience as a tax consultancy firm. You've got your age there. You've got language scores, but I'm assuming it's IELTS. I'm assuming the 8 maybe is listening, but not sure, because that also makes a huge difference. But really, to even have a prayer in the, not even now, it's almost virtually impossible to go through express entry. And we know the processing times are off the charts as well when it comes to express entry. And if we flip back here and we go to federal skilled worker and processing times, it's 26 months. Even if you did in the next draw get drawn, although we will see these start to drop drastically, because the goal of the minister in the discussion I had with him and Kyle and Lisa and Robert, I think it was back in February, his goal was to clear the backlog by July. And guys, it's June 22nd today. Okay, let's jump to the next question. And this one's Reshmi. You suggest accepting OINP, NOI, or waiting for draws. Accept everything you can get your hands on. Accept the OINP, NOI. Hands down, without any reservation. You're going to accept it. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here unless Caitlin is brave. Is Caitlin brave? I haven't seen Caitlin. I think Caitlin is probably not brave, but I haven't seen her post a response. So I'm assuming probably that that Caitlin is not going to join me. It was kind of a fun idea. Okay. And I would like to pull someone in. I think it would be really fun to do that. Let's see. Yep. All right. So I'll answer Caitlin, and I guess Caitlin's probably the better response. So if Caitlin wants to join me, we're basically kind of out of time, so I'm assuming she probably won't. So I'm going to pull this off right here. And then those of you with good questions, be prepared to join me next week. Okay, so my spouse worked on cruise ships, never stayed more than a few days in a row in any country. In the personal history, what country should we choose for that employment period? What if the form asks for PCC? The key for you is that you explain in a letter of explanation. Anytime it doesn't fit, letters of explanation are how you resolve issues that are just simply not possible to explain in the context of the actual, the forms, the EAPR forms. So when you're trying to explain things, and there's a whole bunch of levels to this, like when you're traveling all over the world on a cruise ship and it's work, sometimes the way I deal with it is I have a home base. So wherever the main port is that you leave from, I have that kind of as the location of work. Or even your home country as the location of work. And then in a letter of explanation, I break down in detail how the trips and the cruise ship travel to all these different countries, and these are the main countries, but a lot of it is really specific. So I've worked with a lot of clients who were on cruise ships, and the letters of explanation are the secret sauce when it comes to completing these types of sections, at least within the express entry process. If we flip over to the course and I click on Learn More and Buy Now, one of the things is I scroll down to the comprehensive list. These are all the videos. This is the structure of the course. The Mastering the Documents section, I put a ton of time into creating this. And the best, most powerful section in all of this whole course, well, that ranks up there, is the letters of explanation, or the client information section. This is the secret sauce. This is where you fix everything. If I was to choose one other thing, it would definitely be records of employment, which is also a big issue that people face. And so I highly encourage you to slide on over, click on the link below in the description. You'll see where you can register for the DIY course and join me. You can get access to all the templates, letter of explanation templates, record of employment, tutorials, checklists, all kinds of things designed to help you navigate your way through it. Okay, so it looks like, Caitlin, there you go. There's your question. We will wrap up with two last ones. Reshmi says, Bill C-19 coming in July. What do you think? Well, I think that occupations are going to be really important. And I think the minister is going to be targeting occupations. Will he build into it something for international students? It's super easy for him to do that. He's given 15 points for Canadian education, or 30 points depending upon the program. It would be easy for him to give 50 points or something like that, or do targeted draws specifically for international graduates. That's the options that are available, and that's what could appear. Maninder says, in my job offer, there's no end date. It's full time. Can I select indeterminate in duration of job offer in AINP application? Yeah, you can do that. The key is that truly it's a permanent indeterminate job offer, and that they are going to continue employing you throughout your PR process. And remember, with the AINP, if it's an express entry one, then theoretically it will go quicker. But if it's an Alberta Opportunity Stream, the AOS, then processing times are, what are they, like 20 months or something now? So take that into consideration. Okay. Okay, well, I'll try to get to one last one. You guys just keep pushing me, don't you? Okay. All right. So here is the question. This one's from Camby's World. Is there any restriction to international students entering Canada? How many months before education institutes start can they enter Canada? This is something that's always a little bit tricky. So I usually don't like to come a month before. So I think if you're pushing it longer than a month coming, I think immigration at times will question the need to be here that early. But you can always, it takes time to come. It takes time to be able to get settled in fairness. And but usually I don't like to come too early. But there isn't like a hard and fast rule. Once your study permit visa has been approved, then you can travel to Canada. But you can't start working before you are actually in school enrolled. And then you can start spending those 20 hours. Okay. Can't be. If there's the best immigration consultant award in the world, then it would be awarded to you, Mr. Mark. That is very, very kind. Now, I would be ineligible for that award because I'm actually not an immigration consultant. I'm an immigration lawyer. So I'm sure there would be some amazing immigration consultants out there that would be eligible for that award, but I wouldn't be because I am an immigration lawyer. I think I need to do a video just on the differences and the distinctions. Okay. All right. I think we've covered off everything that I wanted to cover today. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in. As always, these videos are, and I'm just going to take a quick little check, make sure I'm not missing anyone here. Shanthony says, have a great day. Thanks for everything you do. You're very, very welcome. Okay. And I want to thank all of you guys, because if it wasn't for you, this channel wouldn't be possible. And we've got a great turnout today across all our channels: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and the live Q&As. We're no longer doing pushing those out to the podcast, just because it seems like people are not as interested in listening to these via podcast. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of the world we're in. So we've decided to reduce them and instead focus on really targeted topics for the podcast. But this is my opportunity to get to know you better, for you to get to know me. And, I love doing this stuff. And at the end of the day, this is 100% a joy for me. And as a Canadian immigration lawyer, doing this, working at this, practicing in this area is not about money. This is about making a difference in the world. And that's what this platform gives me the opportunity to do. All right. So let's see here what we've got. I want to let you guys know about right here, which is Thursday tomorrow, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Alicia is joining me on the Immigration Live Q&A, the Thursday edition. So head over and do that. And remember always that I will be back on every Wednesday, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Time with this Q&A. And we'll see how it all plays out, you guys. We will see how the things evolve with Cedric and Chanel, because they may very well be starting their own. And like I said before, a couple last minute reminders. We are going to be doing a roundtable, a Holthe immigration law roundtable with our lawyers. We're going to cover a lot of different topics. It's going to be like a fireside kind of chat. And I'm really looking forward to it. And one of the highlights is going to be the immigration trivia, or we could even call it trivia, the Canadian trivia. And you guys will be able to play along, and you will also be able to send in your questions to be included within the trivia questions. And it'll probably be a series of about 10 questions, and we'll see who is the winner. And the winner of each of those trivia competitions is going to get $100 to donate to the charity of their choice. All right. So that'll be fun. Thank you guys for joining in. It is awesome. And Amy, he says, thanks for your insights, Mark. I'll definitely let you know once I receive positive news. Fantastic. And Camby, happy to help you as well. All right, guys, thanks so much. Have a wonderful, absolutely wonderful day. And we'll see you tomorrow with Alicia. Take care.